Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Before we dive into part 2, please take the time to subscribe if you haven't done so. Tell us what time it is when you are watching this. A soft knock echoed at the hotel room door. Blessing stirred, still curled on the edge of the bed, the same way Mary had left her on the phone just half an hour ago. Her body ached from lying in the same position for days, her soul heavier than ever. She didn't move at first. "Blessing, it's me," Mary called gently from outside. "Please open the door." Dragging herself up with effort, Blessing shuffled barefoot across the room. Her hair was matted, her eyes red-rimmed, her spirit dim. She opened the door slowly. Mary stood there, casual jeans, a soft cardigan, and eyes filled with concern. But beneath the concern was fire, determination, strength. Without a word, Mary stepped in and wrapped her arms around Blessing. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Blessing sagged into the embrace, and fresh tears soaked Mary's shoulder. Mary pulled back just enough to look at her. "You don't belong in this place. You don't belong broken in a hotel room. You built an empire, Blessing. He just put his name on it." Blessing shook her head weakly. "It's all gone, Mary. Everything. My home, my marriage, my shares. I have nothing." Mary sat her down on the bed and knelt in front of her, taking her hands. He has paper. He has lawyers. But you have power. Vision. You were the soul of that company, Blessing. Everyone knows it. Investors came on board because of you. Clients trusted you. He had the name, sure, but you had the magic. Blessing looked away, her voice barely above a whisper. "But where do I even start?" Mary smiled softly. "You start from scratch. From my living room, if we have to. I've got Wi-Fi, a coffee maker, and a dining table that can double as a desk." Blessing gave a half-hearted, broken laugh. "Your living room?" "Yes," Mary grinned. "You don't need a skyscraper or a marble-floored office. Not yet. Just your mind, your grit, and a plan. We build something better. Something yours. And this time, no one's taking it from you." Blessing shook her head slowly, still unsure. "I can't pay anyone. I don't even have enough money for next week." Mary squeezed her hands. "Then pay me in coffee and hope. I'll be your secretary again. I'll type, organize, call whoever you need me to. I believe in you, Blessing. You just have to believe in yourself again." Silence fell between them. The truth of Mary's words sank deep. Then, with tears in her eyes, Mary gently added, "But first, you need to shower. Get out of this room. Come with me. You can't start again while you're trapped in this place. This pain." Blessing blinked at her, her lips trembling. "I don't think I can face the world yet." "You don't have to face the world," Mary said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Just face today. Just take the first step. Let's wash this sorrow off your skin. Let's go home. My home, for now. And tomorrow, we fight." There was a long pause. And then, slowly, Blessing nodded. Mary helped her to her feet, gently guiding her toward the bathroom. "Take your time. I'll be right here when you're done." As Blessing stepped under the hot stream of water a few minutes later, she felt the first layer of pain begin to melt away. It didn't erase the betrayal, the humiliation, or the heartbreak. But it was a start. A cleansing. A first step toward rediscovering herself. And when she stepped out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, her hair damp, her face bare and weary, Mary looked at her like she was a phoenix rising from ashes. "Let's go home," Mary said, smiling, and Blessing followed. The first few days were agonizing. Blessing barely spoke. Her movements were slow, mechanical, eating only when Mary begged her to, working only because Mary refused to let her sink back into despair. She'd sit at the dining table, the soft hum of Mary's laptop beside her, staring at a blank screen for hours. The betrayal still clung to her like smoke from a fire she barely survived. Some days, just brushing her hair felt like a war. But Mary never gave up on her. On the worst days, Mary brewed tea, sat beside her, and reminded her, "You were the heart of that company. Now, let's build one that can't be stolen." And slowly, piece by piece, Blessing began to rise. She named her new business Ascend Strategies, a name that meant more than just business. It symbolized rising, climbing from the rubble of betrayal into something higher, something hers. At first, it was just her and Mary, working 12-hour days in Mary's small but cozy living room. They pitched to small clients, offering tailored business growth solutions, branding, and marketing strategies. Most days ended with cheap takeout and red-rimmed eyes, but each little win gave them fuel. Their first client was a local startup that took a chance on them. Then another, and another. Word spread, because Blessing's work was exceptional, and her reputation preceded her. Clients who had once worked with her during her time with John's company began reaching out quietly. 6 months in, Ascend Strategies had a steady stream of clients, a modest revenue, and, most excitingly, a rented office space in a small building downtown. It wasn't flashy, but it was theirs. They even hired a junior analyst, a bright young intern named Keisha. Blessing also began attending therapy twice a week. It was painful to face the trauma, but necessary. With each session, she peeled back layers of grief, shame, and rage, slowly reclaiming her sense of self-worth. She journaled. She prayed. She cried. She grew. Then, almost exactly 1 year after that fateful night, her life changed again. Mary burst into the office one morning, breathless and wide-eyed, holding her phone out. "Blessing," she gasped. "You need to see this." A well-known tech publication had published a feature on rising women-led startups, and Ascend Strategies had a full paragraph. More than that, they were listed as a company to watch. By noon, the office phone was ringing non-stop. But the call that changed everything came in the afternoon. "Good afternoon," Mary said, picking up. "Ascend Strategies. This is Mary." Her eyes widened. "Oh, yes, just one moment." She put the call on hold and turned to Blessing, barely able to contain herself. "It's Gabriel Hartman's office. They want to schedule a meeting." Blessing blinked. "The Gabriel Hartman? CEO of Hartman Global? The billion-dollar Gabriel?" Mary nodded slowly, then burst out in a squeal. "He wants to meet you, Blessing. He saw the article. He's interested in investing." The following morning, Blessing stood in front of her mirror, hands trembling as she fastened her delicate gold necklace. She wore a tailored ivory blouse tucked into high-waisted navy slacks. Her natural curls had been brushed and styled into soft waves that framed her face with elegance and grace. Her makeup was subtle, powerful, highlighting her radiant skin and almond eyes. But what really transformed her was the quiet fire in her gaze. This time last year, she had been left sobbing in a hotel room, thrown out like she didn't matter. Now, she was walking into a meeting with one of the most powerful men in the business world. At precisely 10 a.m., she entered the sleek modern lobby of Hartman Global. And there he was. Gabriel Hartman. Tall, broad shoulders, blonde hair cut in an effortlessly stylish way, piercing blue eyes that flicked up from his tablet the moment she entered. He stood to greet her, his tailored charcoal suit sharp and commanding. "Ms. Miller," he said, extending a hand. "It's a pleasure to finally meet the woman behind Ascend." The moment their hands touched, a spark zipped up her arm. She looked up and found him already studying her, but not in a business-only kind of way. There was intrigue in his gaze, a flicker of interest, and something else. Respect. Blessing's throat went dry for half a second. She smiled, confident but warm. "The pleasure's mine, Mr. Hartman. I've heard a lot about you." As they sat down in the sleek, glass-walled conference room, her heart thudded, not from fear this time, but anticipation. For the first time in a long time, Blessing Miller felt like she wasn't just surviving, she was becoming. And this meeting, it was just the beginning. The meeting exceeded every expectation. Blessing sat across from Gabriel Hartman at the long marble conference table, sunlight streaming in through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Hartman Global's headquarters. The city buzzed beneath them, but inside the room, the energy was calm, focused. Gabriel leaned forward as she presented her proposal for scaling small to mid-sized businesses using organic brand development, storytelling, and consumer trust. He didn't interrupt. He didn't challenge her every word like she was used to in boardrooms with powerful men. Instead, he listened, intently. "You have a way of making growth feel human," he said after she finished. "Not just numbers. Narrative. That's rare." Blessing smiled, something flickering in her chest. "That's the heart of what we do at Ascend. We don't just build businesses. We build connection." He gave a small nod, clearly impressed. "I'd like to continue this conversation. Perhaps over dinner? There's a place I think you'd love. Quiet, classy, and the kind of place that deserves ideas like yours." There was no flirtation in his voice, only genuine interest in her mind. Still, her cheeks warmed slightly as she agreed. "I'd like that," she said. He stood, and so did she. As he extended his hand to shake hers in parting, her fingers slid into his palm, and there it was, again. That jolt, like a live wire pulsing beneath her skin. For the briefest moment, their eyes locked. Gabriel's lips parted, ever so slightly, as if he'd felt it too. But neither said anything about it. Instead, he gave her hand a firm, respectful squeeze and smiled. "I'll have my assistant send the details," he said softly. "I look forward to it." As soon as the elevator doors closed behind her, Blessing leaned back against the wall and exhaled sharply, a grin tugging at her lips. She felt alive, empowered, desired, seen. By the time she reached her office, her heels clicking against the polished floor of their small rented space, Mary looked up from her desk, eyebrows raised. "So, how'd it go?" Blessing tossed her bag onto the couch and practically floated across the room. "He wants another meeting," she said, unable to hide her smile. "Dinner? Just the two of us, to talk strategy." Mary's jaw dropped. "Dinner? Girl, that man doesn't just do dinner. He has assistants for that. If he's showing up himself, that's a move." Blessing chuckled, but her heart fluttered. "It's just business," she said, even though a part of her, deep, buried, cautious, hoped it might become something more. She sat at her desk, fingers poised above her keyboard, But her mind wasn't on emails or deadlines. It was on the way his eyes had softened when she spoke, the way his presence filled a room without overshadowing her own, the way one simple handshake had sparked something she hadn't felt in years. She didn't know what would come next, but for the first time in a long time, the future looked bright. Subscribe for part 2. See you next time. And remember, love is free.